First story, by Anonymous. It was a chilly autumn night in the quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled deep in the heart of Virginia. The clock struck midnight as I sat in my patrol car, scanning the dark streets for any signs of trouble. The crackling radio broke the silence, dispatch relaying a call from a frantic homeowner reporting an intruder in their house. I flicked on the siren and sped toward the address, heart pounding in anticipation. Arriving at the scene, I cautiously approached the dimly lit house. The front door stood ajar, casting eerie shadows on the porch. I tightened my grip on my flashlight and stepped inside, my footsteps echoing through the quiet house. As I moved through the rooms, a sense of unease crept over me. Everything appeared undisturbed, but an unsettling feeling gnawed at the edges of my mind. The homeowner's voice echoed in my head, describing a dark figure lurking in the living room. I made my way there, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. And then I saw him, a man huddled in the corner, his face obscured by a mask. My heart raced as I ordered him to show his hands, but he remained still. As I cautiously approached, the man suddenly lunged at me, a glint of steel in his hand. Instinct took over as I fired a single shot, the sound deafening in the confined space. The man crumpled to the floor, his mask falling to reveal a face twisted in pain. It was a face I recognized from the town's most wanted list, a dangerous robber responsible for a string of violent heists across the state. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. I had narrowly escaped becoming another statistic in the criminal's spree. I radioed for backup and medical assistance, my hands trembling as I kept my gun trained on the fallen robber. The minutes that followed felt like an eternity, the weight of the situation sinking in as I replayed the close encounter in my mind. As the red and blue lights of my colleagues' patrol cars bathed the room, I finally holstered my weapon. The danger had passed, but the adrenaline still coursed through my veins. It was a night I would never forget, an ordinary call that had escalated into a life-threatening showdown. The quiet town of Willowbrook had been a facade for the lurking dangers that could unfold on any given night. Second story, by Officer Sarah Mitchell. In the heart of a forsaken industrial district in Detroit, an eerie silence hung in the air like a shroud. It was my night shift, and I was patrolling the area when a report came in about strange noises emanating from an abandoned factory. With skepticism battling curiosity, I approached the building, the broken windows and decaying walls giving off an unsettling aura. I cautiously stepped inside, my flashlight flickering to life and casting feeble beams into the darkness. The beam revealed rusted machinery, shattered glass, and a pervasive smell of decay. The floor creaked underfoot as I ventured deeper, drawn by the distant echoes of dripping water and faint whispers of wind. As I explored further, a chilling feeling crawled up my spine. It was then that I heard it, a faint, muffled cry for help. My heart raced as I followed the sound, eventually arriving at a locked door in a dimly lit corridor. With trembling hands, I managed to force the door open, revealing a sight that would forever haunt my dreams. Inside the room were rows of makeshift beds, dirty and worn. The walls were plastered with photographs of people, their eyes hollow and expressions tormented. My eyes widened as the truth dawned on me. This was a den for the forgotten, a place where those who had slipped through society's cracks sought refuge. But what chilled me to the bone was a collection of journals scattered across the table. I opened one at random and began to read tales of despair, abuse, and a desperate struggle for survival. The room seemed to close in on me as the stories painted a picture of lives shattered by circumstances beyond their control. My radio crackled to life, the voice of my partner pulling me back to reality. Backup was on its way, and we would be investigating further. As I stepped out of the room, my heart heavy with the weight of the secrets I had uncovered, a cold breeze swept through the corridor. It carried with it whispers of the past, of pain and suffering that had long been silenced. The investigation that followed unveiled a web of exploitation and human trafficking that had festered within the shadows of the abandoned factory. The horrors that had unfolded within those decaying walls were a stark reminder that evil could thrive even in the most forgotten corners of society. That night, as I left the building, I couldn't shake the feeling that the darkness I had encountered was not just within the abandoned walls, but also within the hearts of those who had perpetrated such heinous acts. Third story, by Jason. The suburbs of Chicago had always seemed peaceful, but one fateful night shattered that illusion for me. I was on my regular night shift, cruising through the quiet streets, when a call came in from a distressed woman. She claimed she was being followed by an unknown man in a dark sedan. I headed to the location she provided, my senses on high alert. I spotted her car parked at a dimly lit intersection, hazard lights blinking. As I approached, she frantically recounted how the same car had been tailing her for miles. She described the driver as a faceless figure, a dark silhouette with a predatory intent. We decided to stake out the area, hoping the stalker would return. Hours passed, the tension in the air thickening with each passing minute. And then, in the distance, the familiar silhouette of the dark sedan emerged from the shadows. Adrenaline surged through me as I prepared to confront this mysterious pursuer. As the sedan pulled up behind the woman's car, I stepped out of my patrol car and approached the vehicle cautiously, my hand resting on my holster. The driver's window slid down, revealing a man with cold, calculating eyes. His voice was calm as he claimed he was a private investigator hired to gather information on the woman. However, the unease in the pit of my stomach told me there was more to the story. I requested his identification, my heart pounding as he complied. As I ran his information through the database, a chilling discovery sent shivers down my spine. The man had a history of stalking and harassment charges, a shadowy trail of intimidation that spanned years. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The woman was not paranoid. She was in real danger. With backup on the way, I ordered the man to step out of the car and placed him under arrest. He complied without resistance, a sinister smile playing on his lips. It was as if he thrived on the fear he instilled in others. Handcuffs secured, I read him his rights, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. As my colleagues arrived, the man's car was searched, revealing a trove of unsettling items, a collection of photographs, personal documents, and even a map outlining the woman's daily routine. It was a stark reminder that sometimes, the monsters we fear are not supernatural, but all too human. The investigation that followed revealed a trail of victims, each with their own story of relentless pursuit and fear. The stalker's arrest brought some semblance of relief to the community, but the unease lingered. That night, as I drove through the suburbs once again, I couldn't shake the feeling that lurking in the shadows were more stories of ordinary people haunted by the darkness that could be hiding in plain sight. Thank you for joining us for the whole video. That video on the screen is one of my favorite. Check it out. If you've enjoyed these horror stories, show your support by hitting the subscribe button. Did this tale send chills down your spine? Let me know in the comments.